It's happening. Shit's getting real. This is Sophia Musto, and I am so excited to have you here to share my stories with you because life is full of flavor. The purpose of the Zensetter podcast is storytelling, and I want to hear your story, and thank you for listening to mine. You're going to meet so many amazing friends along the way, so thanks for being here. Namaste and hairspray.
Hey, and welcome back to the Zensetter podcast. I'm your host, Sophia Musto, coming to you from a new studio space, my bedroom. Yep, right now I am mixing it up. I am moving some stuff around in the studio. I'm heading to Tulum on a retreat. And that brings me to my guest today because she went to Tulum on one of these retreats. And Chrystal is my guest today. And Chrystal is my friend. Chrystal is the owner and founder of the AHA Academy. And AHA stands for All Hair Academy. Chrystal is the owner of Chrystal L Hair and Makeup. She is a master stylist. She is a makeup artist. She is a mother. She is a friend. She is a wife. She is my teacher. I am a founding member in Chrystal's D.E.I. Do you know what D.E.I. means? Diversity, equality, and inclusion. Because I believe as a human, to be part of the ripple effect of change is I need to be the change. And in order to be the change, I need to put myself in uncomfortable situations and have uncomfortable conversations to learn and to grow as a human. And I am so blessed to have Chrystal in my community and in my circle of friends to create this safe place where we can have these conversations and learn and grow and create equality for all, not just equity, equality. So let me introduce you to my friend and teacher, Chrystal.
So, Chrystal, introduce yourselves to the viewers and the listeners, please.
Hello. Well, first off, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I'm super excited to be here. I adore and love you so much. So it's just an honor to have the opportunity to really sit and chill and talk to you one-on-one. So viewers, listeners, my name is Chrystal L. I am an owner, master stylist, and a lot of people don't know, a wedding guru at Chrystal L Hair and Makeup. I am the founder of All Hair Academy and the nonprofit co-founder of the Bold Academy. I have been in this industry, this is year 12. And my mission is that diversity is not optional, but necessary. And my goal is just to create inclusive spaces where everyone feels like they belong and are represented. So I'm super excited to share with you all the things and just dive in.
Chrystal, thank you so much for being here. So you're coming to us from where? Where are you living?
I live in Columbia, Missouri, smack dab in the middle of the country.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And are you born and raised Missourian, or did you live in other states?
Yes, but I am from St. Louis. So I'm born and raised in St. Louis. I've lived in Missouri most of my life, minus college, which was in Alabama. And then I came back here. Nice.
Do you love the movie Meet Me in St. Louis then?
I don't know the movie Meet Me in St. Louis.
Judy Garland.
No.
Meet me in St. Louis. You've never seen. She's like Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz.
Is it singing? Is there singing?
Yes, it's a musical.
No, don't do musical.
I sang for you because I love you.
Thank you. I do not do musicals. Yeah.
When I was a little girl, my grandmother put that and Singing in the Rain was on repeat for us.
Oh, wow.
A little cassette tape. So that's as far as I've been to St. Louis.
Well, you'll have
but I know when I saw Lindsay come to visit you, I was like, this is what I'm talking about. I love our community so much.
And it was so random.
So that's great.
Yeah. I just realized she was coming from Colorado to Kansas City. And I was like, or from Chicago to Kansas City. And I was like, hey, I am like right in the middle. If you want to hang out and crash at my house, let's do it. And so it was really cool to meet her and hang out and go to dinner and all the things. So I love our community.
I love our community, and I feel even special that you're part of my community because I am so drawn to your light. Because when they say, like, to be the change, we have to be part of the change, you are the change. So,
Oh,
like, when I sit at a table with you, I feel like I'm part of a movement that I just feel like so important. It was really important to me to add DEI to my training. And what made you decide to do that? Like, there was a hole in the market, obviously, but what made you stand up and say, I, Chrystal L, am going to be this person?
well, I'll tell you what, it was not, it's funny because I would say it's not by choice. And the reason I say that is because for a very long time, I actually fought it. So for a very long time, I was like, I just want to be a hairstylist that does all hair. Like, I don't want to be the person that always talks about diversity, equity, and inclusion. I just want to be a bomb ass hairstylist that knows the importance of doing all hair and kind of share that message. And then I remember being on Clubhouse actually, and I was talking to Britt Siva, and she was talking about educators. And she was saying, like, as educators, we have to really look at, we can't just like reinvent the wheel on the same thing in the sense of I got a new spin on whatever I'm educating about, right? Which we all know is going to come from a different place, different experiences, but just everyone's talking about the whole niching down. And so for me, it was like taking a topic and be able to go dive deep into it and realizing that when I talk about anything, right, anything that I talk about from my experiences, from my lens, is going to be inclusive because that's just who I am. So I was already doing this, coming from a world of diversity, equity, and inclusion. But then it was like, okay, now I'm going to put this stamp on it so that when people are out here looking and wanting to be a part of, they know where to go. So it really kind of was something that I fought for a very long time, just like the beauty industry. At some point, I'm going to be like, when your mama says do it, do it. But I fought it for a very long time, but I feel like it's just a natural, and it's crazy because I was talking to some friends yesterday and I was like, you know, I almost feel really bad. And they were like, what? And I was kind of dealing with some imposter syndrome. And I was like, you know, this work, it's hard work, but it comes so easy to me. And they were like, because you're working in your passion. Like, when you're in your passion and your purpose, it's supposed to be easy. And I was like, well, duh, you know? So yeah, that's how I got here. And I just really want to be a resource for people who want to be a part of the change and do it out of love. I think that is the biggest thing that I want to stress, is that I am doing it from a lens of love, right? Like, we didn't get here overnight. We're not going to get out of here overnight. And it's going to be one hairstylist, one educator, one beauty school instructor, one student at a time. But we have to have grace and love. And that is what I want to bring.
I love that. And, you know, as much as you think you know it all, you don't. And that's why I love joining your class, because you showed an image in the Beauty Collective. So I am a founding member and proud member to be in the Beauty Collective, and
Yes.
to create a space of inclusivity for all. And you showed an image in that was so powerful. I'm getting chills just even thinking about it. And it was a father with two children at the baseball game. And it was like, what's the difference between equality and equity? And I ignorantly did not know the difference. I thought they were like synonyms for each other. And to see that image, it is like burned in my brain. And basically, the images, for those of you that might have seen this image, it's a father with a daughter and a son at a baseball game, and there's a fence in the way. And the first one is all three of them standing on a box to see over the fence. The second one is the father gave the youngest son the two boxes and the daughter to kind of let them see over the fence. And then the third image is the boxes and the fence are gone. And it's like, how the hell did we get here? And how are we so blind to say that it doesn't exist? And for me, I want to use my voice to help to get that across, because that image really showed it to me. And then you had us in the class do this thing called implicit bias. I had never even heard of implicit bias. And I have a son that is part Korean, and I never felt a need to ever even discuss that with anybody. And he is gay as well. And I never thought I wouldn't talk about if he was heterosexual, who he was having sex with anybody. Like, why would I be talking about that with people just because he's a homosexual? So I was like, okay, I need to learn how to have sensitive language to raise my child in an inclusive home where he always feels that he is equal to everybody, not even because he came from a divorced household, but in the household to feel equal. And when I was introduced to implicit bias, I was like, oh my gosh. So then it had me dive into when I was little, what was taught to me, what was said to me, and what implicit biases did I grow up with environmentally, even though my spirit might not think that, it's programmed into me. And then to have people of color talk about it as well and to create these safe places, it's like, thank you for creating that. Thank you for the opportunity to have these conversations where we can feel safe and we can feel heard and we can feel loved and we can make the change.
Well, thank you for being a part of it. I think without you, there's no me, right? Without people who are willing to step into like the uncomfortability of or the unknown, right? So we're founding members of something that is going to be revolutionary. Like, I'm claiming it, I'm naming it, I'm saying it. And to do that blindly with only knowing that you like know that you want to do the work, like you want to have an inclusive space, you want to understand like how we got here, how do we fix it, be a part of that conversation. So I just like commend you, because you are saying that you want to be a part of this with me. And that is why I do this, right? So and for 33 other people to say the same thing, has really been, very life-changing for me, because I didn't know what to expect. This isn't a warm and fuzzy topic, and it's not something that's easy. But it's something that's doable. And as stylists, as humans, we can do hard, right? And especially if you can do hard with 33 other people who are loving you and hearing you and seeing you and holding space for you, abso-fucking-lutely. So yeah.
Absolutely. And I love that. And what I really love now is in this movement is seeing brands step up. And you can't become the colorist of the year unless you do all hair types. And I love that. Yeah. I love seeing that change, because it never really stuck out to me until we started having these conversations. When you looked at Friends, the whole cast was white. The whole cast was white. When you bought a baby doll, the baby dolls are white. Santa Claus is white. So it's like, okay, we do live in this whitewashed world. You as an individual to do all hair types, to stand up and to be an educator. Do you know how bionic of a warrior woman you are?
Oh, thank you.
Like, I hope you realize that. Like, I think it's amazing, because you have to do double the work to prove yourself, and people don't realize that.
I would agree. It's funny because when I started doing hair, I didn't really all I wanted to do was like Black people's hair that was not red or orange. Literally, like that was it. I just wanted to I knew that there had to be a way. I hated red and orange hair, so there had to be a way to not have that. And I started diving into color theory, and what I realized very quickly is that all hair is made up of the same things. And if you diagnose the hair, understand it, you can color it. And so once I dove into color, I just loved coloring. And in my town, I knew I wanted to be a stylist who could live my dreams, whatever that looked like. I didn't, and I wanted to be able to welcome everyone into my space to do that. So when I entered my apprenticeship, she did all hair. So that just was something that was just natural to me. And I grew up in St. Louis, which is probably one of the most segregated cities in the US. Still is. I participated in D.E.I, which meant that from kindergarten through second grade, I was put on a bus with like 60 other kids and bused out to a all white school. Actually, we were the only kids of color, and I am 38. So not that long ago, right? And D.E.I actually still exists in St. Louis. So the lines are actually very mixed and crossed, and kids from the city are bused to the suburbs to create integration. So it's not that far removed. And we still know, like I was in Kansas City this weekend, and I always pop into salons, and I stopped into like 2 salons, and one was really welcoming, but clearly told me like, we really don't have anybody. And I was like, oh, it's for my daughter. And she was like, we don't have anybody for her either. And the other one, I swear to God.
So somebody actually said that to you.
Yeah.
We don't have anyone.
No.
So that's
my
part of the problem. That's terrible. I'm so sorry that happened.
Yep. And it was, my daughter wasn't with me, but it was just to like, just one, I wanted to look in the space, and I didn't want to be like, I'm a weirdo from, and I could have been. And then the second one, I mean, at least they were super nice. The first one, the second one, they barely even acknowledged that I was like there. I was just kind of looking at some products, and it just reminded me like why this work is so important. And that there's a huge gap in our industry. And like we talked about in the Beauty Collective, making intentional choices and things and changes in our business to be more inclusive is the way that we see the change that we want to see. And that's what I'm noticing with like big brands, the ones who are actually sticking to their word and doing the work, whether I work for them or not, has been really uplifting. Big shout out to Alpha Parf.
That's what I wanted to say. I didn't want to, but I switched to Alpha Parf. I'm not like downgrading any other brand, whatever, but Alpha Parf has really stood up. I was with a brand for 22 years, and Alpha Parf is for all hair types, 100%.
And I feel like they always have been. So that's what's interesting about them. When you look back at their branding, even if you look at like their products, the brand, I mean, I feel like it's been their thing. It's not like, oh, because this is the thing, let's jump on board. And I don't use Alpha Parf. Like I've never used the product or
I love it.
There are 2 girls in my suite that use it. And so when I started talking with them, it was so cool and genuine because it wasn't about me using their products. Like when I asked, they were like, sure, if you want to. Like, that is not why we want you to be a part of our community. And for me, that is the very first time in my 12 years of history, being an educator, being a influencer for several brands, affiliates, that someone was like, it is not about how you can help us, but how we can help you in turn help our community do what is ingrained in our mission, which is inclusivity. So kudos to them. Yeah.
Yeah. I recently was in the Colorist of the Year, and I made it to the top 30.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And the top 8, everybody had to have a diverse clientele that made it to the top 8.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah. And like, if you go and see it, it's the first time I've ever seen a hair competition that has all colors of the rainbow of people. Yeah. And I was like, this is the way all hair competitions.
I got chills. I just got chills like that. I didn't know that. Like, that is representative of who we are, right? Like when we look out into our community is so just blended with everyone, right? And a lot of times stylists who look like me just don't even get the opportunities to be a part of those stages because their work isn't seen as valuable.
No, because of an implicit bias that somebody doesn't even want to acknowledge that they have.
Yep.
Because we want to learn from people that look like us, because we want to then think we are a specialist. But how can you be a specialist if you cannot do all hair types? Yeah. Like, I can honestly say I'm a blonde specialist because I was forced to do ethnic hair. I was not taught it. I had a brief time in beauty school to learn the hot comb, to learn relaxers and things of that nature. But when I worked in a salon space, they sold a package of beauty. And in order to sell the package of beauty, you had to be able to do it on every person
I
that
love
came
that
in.
salon.
But as I learned, not all salons were like that. But as a young mind, I didn't think anything of it. Now, as an adult, I'm like embarrassed to say that I worked in an all white space. Like I worked in an all white space where a Black woman did come in and nobody could do her hair. And I'm like, well, I can. And they're like, you can. I should have made that known. I should have educated these younger stylists. That's what I feel that to be the change in this ripple effect. We need to stand up and say, yes, like I should go to an all Black dominated class and be the only white person. Because how many times are you the only brown or Black person that walks into a room?
Oh, 99% of the time, especially when it
Right.
comes to education. It truly is. And then I'm asked to then educate on the specific topic and how it would have been applied to someone with textured or overly textured hair. So it's a disservice. And I was writing some captions today and it was talking about like the topic, like with blonding. People always say like, oh, does it change when you do like more textured hair or straighter hair? I mean, like it changes when I do everybody's hair, right? So like
Yeah.
my placement is going to be different depending on their needs, their wants, their porosity, the wave, how they wear it. It's all gonna change. So when I say like knowing how to do it on curly or textured hair is something hard, it's really not when you apply all of the theory.
It's the same thing if you bought a wool coat and you bought a satin coat.
Right.
You're going to treat it with how you wash it differently. The temperature of water, because hair is a fabric, not a race.
Right.
And we really need to understand that.
Yes.
We need to really grasp that.
Yeah.
And people like you have created these amazing places that we can come together and meet. So did you envision the Beauty Collective the way it is and the way it's going?
No, I was dreaming small. Like I did not expect to have such an amazing founding class of 33 amazing stylists and educators and platform artists. I did not expect that. And so for that, I'm so grateful. And what I also didn't expect is honestly, when I decided and I started thinking about the curriculum, I did not envision it being what it ended up being. And I'm so happy it is what it is, because this is not your traditional education course at all. This is truly like a training. It is thinking about fixed mindset versus growth mindset, right? And so growth mindset, you're always changing, you're always learning, and we are changing your mindset. Like we are going, diving deep into things that like we didn't even know existed. And one of the biggest things about inclusivity is understanding implicit bias and understanding that it's not your fault. Like it's not a blame game. It is very intentional how we got here. It is ingrained in us from I don't know how young, but it's okay because we can fix it, and we can fix it, but we have to talk about it. We have to have an action plan. We have to intentionally do the work. And then we have to realize that when the Beauty Collective closes in 6 months, it's not over, right? This is a lifelong thing. And that's what I'm trying to figure out, like what's next for the Beauty Collective group, because I don't want it to be over in 6 months. Like, I don't know what that looks like. And this is the first time I'm saying that out loud. Like,
I don't know chills for you.
I don't know what that looks like. But it's going to be epic. And I just want this community to continue to stay together and figure out a way that you can be the catalyst in your community, to have these same conversations with people in your area, in your community, in your spaces. So yeah.
Thank you. I'm so glad that you've done this. So after this wraps up, you kind of like answer my question for me. I will be missing next week's class. I'm so upset, but I'll be in Tulum. So I think you can understand because you went to Tulum.
Yes, I did. I loved it.
Yeah. So after the Beauty Collective wraps up, you have another class called the All Hair Academy, correct?
Correct. Now, All Hair Academy is very different from the Beauty Collective. It is more of your traditional mastermind. So it is for anywhere between 9 and 10 stylists is all I take. It's by application. And we spend 12 weeks diving into not just kind of what you learned in All Hair in the Beauty Collective, but going into actually actionable doing work together. How do you pull back all of the layers on your business and start a new blueprint of becoming inclusive, and scaling, and what scaling looks like, what it looks like having a team, what it looks like if I own a suite, what it looks like if I'm an educator. I found our last class, we had 8 people, and 5 of them were interested in diving into education, and all 5 have launched education. And what I love is that we have to think about, when we think about education, I think the world of like being associated with the brand, or that's what you have to do to like be able to teach, is so different. I have 2 of them are teaching in their area and they do VIP classes. 2 of them are teaching like online, and then 1 is doing like a hybrid. And then the other big difference with All Hair Academy is there's a technical component. So we actually dive into technicality of actually doing cutting, doing washes and flat iron, doing color, doing techniques on all textures, that is hands-on. So it's combining nice. All of that into one big bow, and creating a community that you can grow with and stay with for 12 weeks.
Amazing. So where can the viewers and followers follow along to watch you unfold all of this ripple, change, and education you're bringing us?
So if you want to hang out with me on Instagram, I'm at Chrystal Hair and Makeup, and it's CHRYSTAL, hair and makeup. And if you want to join the All Hair Academy community, it's at allhairacademy.com. And there I send you tips and tricks to your inbox. I talk about just what I think is important when it comes to being inclusive and having those aha moments every day that we open up our emails. So that is where.
So what can you leave our guests with? What aha moment today can you leave our guests with?
Ooh, so the aha moment that I could leave you with today. Ooh, let me think about this. That this work may be uncomfortable. This work may be hard, but I promise you in the end, this work is worth it. And this work needs every single one of you to make it so that our children's children see a world that is reflective of everyone.
That's it. Chills. I'm like giving you a big hug. Thank you. I feel so lucky to have you in my life and to have your voice for my children to hear, for my viewers to hear, for my friends to hear. I just thank you. This isn't easy work. And what you're doing is making such a huge change. And I'm so grateful for it, because without this safe space, we couldn't have these questions and see the changes that need to happen. Segregation of churches and hair salons need to end by the time I'm a grandparent or sooner, because I just want to say it is 2021. We have a telephone that has internet and no cord. We have a phone that can see people. And it took until that amount of time to have that technology that we had colored Band-Aids, people of colored Band-Aids. And that was my aha moment. I never knew that a Band-Aid was for nude skin. I never even realized that it was meant to blend in with the skin until I was part of your class. And that was my humbling moment to realize how privileged I am and how ignorant I am to not even understand that we have a tie-dye Band-Aid and a Mickey Mouse Band-Aid, but not one for somebody to feel like they wanted to hide their injury. So today, from all my viewers and listeners, I ask you to have an aha moment and to see where you can be the change, where you can have a conversation. And when somebody says something disgusting in front of you, be a voice and stick up for them, even if nobody's around. Stop this today and be the change. And let's end this for our children's 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 children and everybody on. I love you, Chrystal, and I think
Love
you're an
you.
amazing person. And thank you for including me in the conversation and letting me be part of this.
Thank you. And I love you. And thank you for just being a voice continuously, even before. And I know that you'll continue to do this work long after for our children's children.
Amen, sister.
Yes.
So I always end my thing with namaste and hairspray
Namaste.
friends.